This story is the true story of the life of an 84-year-old man who fought the British to get his country free. But today, after many decades, when he is 84 years old, he wants to study for the first time. But this has never happened before in history. In 2003, in a village in Kenya, we encounter an 84-year-old man who spends his days working in the fields. He resides in a nearby village, leading a humble life. The man's name is Kimani Mariogi. One day, as Kimani returns home, he hears a news announcement on the radio. It states that the government is offering free primary education to all citizens residing in Kenya. However, everyone is required to present their birth certificate for enrolment. The following day, we see a school crowded with children and their parents, as all the parents are eager for their children to receive an education. The school's principal and teacher is a woman named Jane. One of her colleagues approaches her and informs her that someone is waiting to meet her. When Jane steps outside, she finds Kimani standing there. Kimani tells Jane that he too wants to enroll in the school. Jane is taken aback by his request. He hands her a newspaper clipping, which clearly states that free education is available for everyone. Jane replies that the school is already filled with many children. Kimani responds, saying, "I heard on the radio that this education is for every person living in Kenya." However, the male teacher steps in and says, "The first priority for education belongs to the children. You should leave. You are too old to begin studying." And now, the next day is shown where there are many children in Jane's class. Then, the male teacher comes there and tells her that the old man, that is, Kimani, is still standing at the gate. After which, he himself goes to the gate and tells her that you go away from here. You are not old enough to study. You go home and rest. Anyway, you do not have a school dress. Neither do you have a notebook and pen. Actually, the male teacher knows very well that Kimani does not have so much money that he should buy a notebook, pen, or school dress for himself. That's why he said this. Now Jane comes here, who asks Kimani why you want to take admission in the school. He says that I want to study and write. Jane says that I want to help you. But the other teachers of the school will never agree to this, because there are already many children here. And now Kimani, once again disappointed, comes back home from there, limping with the help of his stick. But he has decided that at any cost, he will learn to read and write. That's why he has some chickens. He sells them and collects some money from which he buys clothes from the market. And he sews those clothes according to his own fitting. He also has old shoes. He cleans those shoes. And once again, he leaves for the school with a hope. He also has a notebook and a pen. When he reaches the gate of the school, there are male teachers and Jane. Jane is surprised to see that he has so much desire to read and write. She is very much influenced by him, and the school gate opens for him, although the male teacher forbids him to do so. But Jane does not listen to him. And today, for the first time at the age of 84, Kimani is sitting in a class where all the children are very small. But he does not care about the children. He just wants to read and write. When Jane goes to her house, she tells her husband how an 84-year-old man wants to read and write. Her husband says that there is no use of this. You should pay attention to the children. Anyway, I want us to go to the city. But Jane does not want him to go to the city. In fact, she wants to teach the children here. Kimani has held a pencil in the class for the first time today. But she does not even know how to hold a pencil. Jane teaches him how to hold a pencil. He is very happy to hold a pencil. Now after the school is over, Kimani goes out of the school with all the children. There is a child's father there. He sees Kimani in the school dress and asks his child what this old man was doing in the school. His child tells that he is in my class. He also reads. Hearing this, the child's father does not like it at all. When Kimani goes to his house, everyone makes fun of him on the way. He says that no school goes at this age, but Kimani does not care about anyone. After coming home, he practices all those things that he had learned in school today. Now someone knocks on his door, but no one is there. And then he has a hallucination. He remembers some things from the past. Actually, he was in the army before. He had fought a war against the British. He remembers how the British had tortured the people of his country. Kimani gets such visions again and again, which bother him a lot. The next day, when Kimani goes to school, Jane teaches mathematics to all the children. But Kimani does not pay attention to studies at all today. He is lost in the memories of his past. And now a male teacher comes here, who checks everyone's notebook. When he goes to Kimani, he has not written anything in his notebook. He sees that the point of Kimani's pencil is broken. He tells Kimani to sharpen it. And now Kimani goes to the place where the sharpener is. But there he remembers the past again, where the British had caught him and put a pencil in his ear. That's why he can't hear well today. Now during lunch break, Jane goes to Kimani and says that maybe you are having trouble studying. If you want, you can discontinue. But Kimani says that I want to study at any cost. He tells how he fought against the British, and even today, he has everything in his memories, because of which he gets disturbed many times. Now, all the other students here like Kimani very much. Kimani tells the children that when I was young. Then I fought the British for the freedom of my country. Once they caught me and beat me very badly. But I did not agree to any of their conditions. The children are very impressed to hear his words, and everyone starts chanting the slogan of freedom here, which makes Jane a little worried, because she wants the children to study here, and do not pay attention to anything else. Now one day, a reporter comes here, who publishes Kimani's photo. Also on the radio this news comes, that an 84-year-old man goes to study in a primary school. This news spreads throughout the country. Now the next day it is shown where two children are fighting each other. Kimani goes to stop their fight, but everyone thinks that Kimani is killing that child. At the same time, the superintendent also comes here, who had heard in the news how an 84-year-old man is studying in a primary school. And now he gets very angry seeing all this. He tells Jane, the principal of the school, that you have to remove this old man from here. This school is for children. Although Jane tries to explain to the superintendent, but he does not listen to her and goes away from there. After the superintendent's departure, Kimani tells Jane that I had fought against the British, and during that fight, the British killed my wife and children. After hearing all this, Jane feels more compassion for him. She wants to help Kimani at any cost. That's why she calls her husband. And her husband says that you should stay away from all these things. This can spoil your career. You can be expelled from the school. But she does not listen to her husband and meets the head of the education board. She tells him everything about Kimani, but the head of the education board says that we cannot keep him in the school. It is a school for small children. If other people find out, then they will also come to the school and take admission, which will take away the right of small children. And now Kimani is expelled from the primary school, after which he has to go to the senior school. But he sees that the children there, they have no interest in studying, and neither is it going to benefit him from coming here. That's why he calls Jane and says that at least teach me to read, so that I can read myself. Jane wants to help him. That's why she calls the superintendent again and requests that Kimani be allowed to come to school so that he can learn to write and read. But the superintendent clearly refuses, after which Jane decides that she will make Kimani her assistant so that she gets permission to come to school. Now, many press reporters come to interview Kimani because the whole of Kenya has spread that an 84-year-old man goes to school to study and write. They ask Kimani, "Why do you want to study and write?" Kimani says that, I think, with studies and writing, we can eliminate the poverty of our country forever. There is a lot of power in education. And now many people see this interview of Kimani. Now all the children in the school, their parents feel that school should only be for small children. For an old man, we should not waste a single seat. That's why everyone comes out of the school. They come out and protest and say that Kimani should be expelled from school, although Jane tries to explain to them that Kimani has a lot of things which can teach your children, but no one listens to her. And now the superintendent also comes here, who warns Jane and says that you have this last chance now. You will have to expel Kimani from school. Kimani's heart also breaks because everyone is protesting against her. He misses his wife a lot, with whom he used to love a lot. At the same time, a student is shown, whose marks are not good, because of which his father gets very angry. He feels that Jane does not pay attention to the children. Most of his attention is on Kimani. At the same time, Jane is shown, who teaches Kimani even after school is over. And then he gets a phone call, in which a man threatens him and says that if you do not expel Kimani from school, then we do not even know what we will do with you. After those days, a lot of politicians come here, who praise Jane because he was very happy with her work. Jane is very happy with this. Then the father of the child comes there, whose marks were very low. He says to Jane that I know that you get a lot of money in return for Kimani's interview. Give me that money. Jane tries to make him understand that I do not get any money. I did not take any money from anyone. But he does not believe him and leaves there in anger. Now Jane gets a lot of threatening calls. She lives here alone. That's why she's scared. She calls her husband from the city, and when her husband is at home, then a stranger calls him and lies that your wife Jane lives here with another man. Actually, those people who do not want that they teach Kimani in their school. They want to spoil their relationship. The same Kimani is shown, who has the father of the same child, whose child's marks were low, who had gone to Jane and was demanding money. He also demands the same from Kimani here. Kimani says that I never take any money in return for the interview. News people themselves come to me. But he instigates the villagers. That's why the next day everyone attacks the school. But Kimani was a freedom fighter. He has fought the British. He is not afraid of them and attacks them with his stick, kills them and drives them away. Now Jane gets a letter from the education department in which it is written that she has been transferred from here, and now her other school is very far from here. Jane's husband says that you do not need to go there. You leave this job. But Jane refuses to do so, due to which her husband's suspicion increases even more. He feels that Jane is really having an affair with someone. Hearing this, Jane is very sad. And now Jane goes to Kimani and tells her that I've been transferred. Kimani says that I will also come with you, but Jane refuses. She says that I do not want to increase more problems in my life. She calls Kimani to school for her farewell, but Kimani does not come. All the students here are very sad that Jane is leaving, because all the students love Jane very much. Kimani sees Jane leaving from a distance, and now the superintendent comes and tells everyone that soon a new principal will come here. The next day, a new principal comes here, due to which all the parents of the students are very happy. But all the students are very sad. They want Jane back. That's why they close the gate of the school and start throwing stones from above, due to which this new principal runs away from here. There, Kimani gives his goat to a car owner and says that you leave me the city. Actually, he wants to meet the chairman of the Board of Education. He reaches his office, where he says to the secretary that I want to meet the chairman. She says that she is busy in the meeting, but as soon as Kimani gets the opportunity, he goes to the room where everyone is having a meeting. He opens his shirt and shows his back to everyone, in which there are deep scars of wounds. He says that I fought the British. The British made our country a slave. They tortured us because we did not have a good education. And I want our country's children to get a good education. The school in our village, we need Jane there. I want you to transfer her back to that school. And by saying this, he comes back to his village. Now he does not go to school, but he does farming in his fields like before. One day he sees that a girl is coming from the front. When he looks carefully, it is Jane. He becomes very happy to see Jane. Actually, Jane has been transferred to this school again, by which Kimani and all the students become very happy. Now a letter had come for Kimani. He takes it to Jane and says, "Can you read this letter for me?" Jane gives that letter to the male teacher, who never liked Kimani, and says that you read this letter. The male teacher reads the letter, which has come from the government for Kimani. It is written that whatever you have done for your country, we are very grateful to you for that. Because of many people like you and you, we were able to free our country from the British. Kimani becomes very emotional after hearing this, because for the first time someone appreciated him. At the end of the story, we are told that Kimani's name was recorded in the Guinness World Records because he was the first man in this world at the age of 84 who attended primary school. He was also invited to the United Nations in New York so that he could convey this message to the big leaders of the world, that how much importance education has in our world. Education is very important for everyone. Kimani died in 2009, but Kimani's name has been recorded forever in history because of his work. This was the whole story of Kimani's life. We hope you liked this story.